Hey y'all, this is a quick mini lesson over solving equations. So first of all, the first thing we used to do, I'm going to change my color here and make it a little bit smaller. First thing we always used to do is draw a little line in the middle of our equation through the equal sign. It kind of keeps us organized, keeps us divided. So in one problem, I have one side of the equal sign and the other side of the equal sign. Remember that X, the letters, it doesn't always have to be X. It could be K, it could be P, it could be T, whatever it wants to be. But it's basically a hidden number. We just have to figure out the mystery number. And this is how. We kind of work backwards in this process and try to figure out what the number could have been. So the first thing that we have to do is find the like terms. Like terms are terms that look alike. Terms are pieces of the equation, usually separated by addition or subtraction. And we have like a ton of subtraction on this one, so great. So first of all, I can circle all the terms that have the X's. I'll leave out the other terms that don't. Notice that I circled the sign in front of the number. Yes, this said 8 minus -2 minus 8x, or minus 2x minus 8x. But whenever I circle it within the term, it kind of changes like it's changing to a negative sign. So I'm going to consider this a negative 2x the same way. All right, so first of all, before I start doing anything around my line, I need to combine the like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. For instance, these two terms are on the same side of the equal sign. Negative 7x minus 4x. We try to see how many x's this is. So we're going to do it like a regular math problem. Negative 7 minus 4 is negative 11x. Let's redraw our equal sign. And then I'm going to bring down the 8 because I didn't actually work with it. It had no terms to combine it to, so I just rewrite it. Then I have to combine these two terms. They're on the same side of the equal sign, so they can kind of go together real easy. Negative 2x minus 8x. So I have this negative 2, and I'm going to subtract 8 from it also. So when you have a negative number minus another number, it actually gets further down negative. So negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. Remember, you can always use your calculator for that to help you with that. Okay, so now we have a smaller equation. It's getting smaller and smaller, and that's our goal, is to finally have x equals some number over here, and it's going to tell us our mystery number. So I'm going to keep my pattern. I'm going to circle my x's. I have to put these two together now. But since they're not on the same side of the equal sign, they can't go together really easily. I can't just say negative 11 minus 10. Can't do it in the calculator. What I'm going to have to do is called the inverse property. The inverse property is where you take one of the terms and do it the opposite of it so that you can move it to the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to take the 10 and move it this way. Negative 10x, if I wanted to make it go away, as in if I wanted to make it cancel out somehow, I would need to add 10 more to make it cancel out. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. I wanted it to cancel out. That way I could move it over here. Since I added 10x on this side, I'm going to need to add 10x to this side. Now I have negative 11x minus 10x, which leaves me with a negative 1x. Now I'm going to write it a little bit differently here, and I'm going to write it like this. Negative x. Instead of putting a 1 there, which technically there is a 1, looks like that, but it's invisible. So I'm not going to write the 1 because you can technically just write negative x. It means the same thing. And then I'm still dropping this 8 down because nothing happened to it. Nobody talked to 8 at all. So I'm almost all the way to how I wanted my answer. I have negative 1x equals 8. What I'm going to have to do now is take this negative 1 and divide it on both sides. So this negative 1 divided by negative 1 will cancel out, and that was my goal. Now I have x all alone because everything else around it canceled out. So here's x, I rewrote it. 8 divided by negative 1 is negative 8, and that was my answer. All right, let's try one more, and then I'm going to show you how to do this with the calculator. Let's circle and box all the like terms. So I do notice that there are x's here and here. The other ones do not have x's, so I am going to box them. And then I'm going to start putting things together. I start with the terms that are on the same side of the equal sign, like these. Those terms are like because they don't have x's, they don't have variables on them. Negative 10 and negative 1 combine together to make a negative 11. And on this side, this plus x, nothing happened. It didn't go with anything just yet, so I rewrite it. Write my equal sign. These two aren't like terms at all. They're different. One has a variable and one doesn't. So I rewrite it, just like this. It's ready to go. Now I have another equation. It's even more simple this time, but I'm still going to continue the pattern of boxing my constant numbers and circling my numbers with variables on them. Okay, still have to combine the like terms, but there's nothing left to combine that's on the same side of the equal sign, so that's when I go start doing the opposite, moving one side to the other. Now, at this point, you can kind of move what you want. I could take this plus x and move it over here, or I could take this 7x and move it over here. Either way, it has to go with the x's though. Same thing for the constant numbers. They have to go with each other and no one else. All right, let's start with, I guess let's start with this 11. I noticed that I could take, once I have a negative 11 and add 11 to it, I'll have to add 11 over here, and hopefully it can make some positive numbers kind of start appearing. Again, it's kind of up to you on where you want to start. So I'm going to drop down this plus x right here. Oh, I don't really need to draw the plus. So I'm just going to draw x. I didn't need to draw the plus because it's positive. If it's a positive number, you don't really need the plus in front of it, especially if there was nothing adding to it anymore. So then we have 7x, and then negative 5 plus 11. The math problem to this would be a plus 6 or positive 6. All right, we're getting really close to having our final answer, our x by itself. However, there are still two x's. Let's move these together. I'm going to take this negative 7x and move it to the other side. So I'm going to, it's a positive 7x right now. So I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. 7 minus 7 is 0, and that is exactly what I wanted to happen. I have a 1x minus 7x, which gives me a negative 6x. And that 6 right here just drops down. Okay, and so the last thing I'm going to need to do is divide by this negative 6 here and here. Now 6 divided by negative 6 does not cancel out, by the way. It's 1. It's actually a negative 1. So I have x equals negative 1, and that is the answer. Here's how you solve this in the calculator. So on the board now, there are the two equations that we were just working with. However, I traded one x down here at the bottom equation for y's. I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter which letter you're using when solving equations. But I do want to show you that there is a trick inside the calculator for solving equations. So let's take this equation that we just solved a minute ago and type it into our calculator in order to solve it. You can't just start typing equations into the calculator like 7x plus 5 equals 8. It does nothing. It tells you that there's an error. What you're going to have to do is kind of put in like a little cheat code into the calculator before you start typing an equation. So I'm going to do menu 3. You would see numeric solve pop up, and you can type 1 again. I'm going to show you that one more time here in a second. It's menu 3, 1. Okay. So I'm going to start typing this equation into the calculator. Negative 7x minus 4 equals 8 minus 2x. Oh, minus 8x, right. So now I have the entire equation that I just said out loud in the calculator. I have to do one more thing. I have to tell the calculator, find x. Here's how I tell the calculator, solve for x. I press this comma way down here at the bottom of your calculator, and x, the letter we're searching for. Whatever the end of your equation is, at the very end of it, you will put comma x, or comma whatever letter we're looking for. Press enter, and it gives you the number that we got as our answer a whole little minute ago. Okay, let's try it one more time with this equation down here. Remember, you have to press menu 3, 1. It pops up with the words in solve. That is the little function that we're using in the calculator to solve our equations. So I'm going to type negative 10. Be sure to type a negative button for negative 10, not a minus button. That does not say minus 10. There's nothing in front to minus it from. We're going to say negative 10 plus y and you're actually going to use the Y button from the keyboard at the bottom, minus 1. So yes, this and these signs look alike. However, you have to understand where to use a minus sign, which is in between terms, and negative signs are in front of terms. Up here I did negative 7x minus 4x. The numbers are different. Okay, or the words are different depending on where the subtraction is. So we have negative 10x, or negative 10y, negative 10 plus y minus 1 equals 7y minus 5. Oh, I added too many subtraction signs there on accident. Good thing I checked that. And then at the end, again, you will say comma y to show that you are trying to tell the calculator, find y for me. When you press enter, it gives us negative 1, and that is the same exact answer we got just a minute ago when doing it by hand.